Hello and welcome to another episode of Beardbarian Entertainment. My name is Eve and I'm the Beardbarian. Today we're gonna again try two different beers from the Beery Christmas calendar because yesterday didn't really feel like drinking and today I have to taste two. It's always good to decide today is not a day for beer. Sometimes it's good to take a break. So, more fun today. The first one we're gonna try today is the Passion Gingembre, which basically means passion ginger, from the Effet Papillon brasserie, which is probably in France. I should look it up. Yes, so in Mérignac. And this beer is a Berliner Weisse, a white Berliner beer. So it's a style named after the city of Berlin in Germany, and it's 6%. Now, Berliner Weisse beers usually are quite sour, not completely unlike the Belgian Lambic style, so they're supposed to be very sour, very dry, like really suck your mouth all the way to the back of your skull. That kind of sour should be what we are looking for. And they added ginger to it, if I understand the name of the beer right, though it is not mentioned on the label as containing ginger. As I said, don't always trust your labels. Beer makers don't always have to mention what they put in there. So it could be like the ginger flavor actually just comes from the hops that they use, or maybe there's some actual ginger in there. First thing I noticed already before I open the bottle is that it contains a lot of debris. Like, I understand they try to keep the calendar in a fun way, but putting the bottle sideways when you have this much debris, it's kind of hard because it all sinks to the side. And I sometimes drink my debris with my beer. I don't mind it. Yeast is very healthy for your hair, for your skin, etc. But I know a lot of people who are really grossed out by debris in their beer, and for them it becomes really hard to pour the beer without getting the debris in your glass this way. So it should be very carbonated as well, since we're dealing with a sour beer usually has a lot of bubbles. And it does have a lot of bubbles, it seems. I open it up and it starts foaming directly. Hazy, as expected. Nice head, very stable. So I'm already getting a lot of funk, a lot of sourness. A little touch of banana as well. A little bit of vinegar, cider, so yeah. A lot of good, nice and sour aromas. Let's give it to the taste. Oh yes, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's very full, also very typical of the Berliner Weisse because they use wheat, so again, a lot of proteins, fills up your mouth nice and well, but it is so sour, very refreshing. It really makes your throat run dry for a second, but God, is it beautiful. Ginger is quite subtle. I would say it's more in the smell than in the flavor, probably because ginger itself feels quite strong, so it probably blends with the sourness, but it's definitely present in the smell. And yet, in the end, there's a certain softness. First taste is definitely sour. Ginger, spice, maybe a little bit of clove, the banana, a little bit of vinegar as well. I like some vinegar in my sour beers. And then towards the end you get more the softer flavors of the malt. A little bit of grass in there. Also has a nice amount of lactic acid, so there's definitely also a bit of cheese going on. Beautiful beer, really gorgeous. I might finish this one up later. In the meantime, I'm gonna move on to the Mikle East Coast Pale Ale. Yeah, definitely kind of a nice grassy touch in it. So, here we go, the Mikkeller. Mikkeller is, if I'm not mistaken, they are more of a beer firm than actual brewery. They rent other breweries to, yes. So this one was made in Lochristi, in the Proof Brouwerij, which is basically a brewery you can rent or ask to make your beer. I'm very curious. East Coast Pale Ale, so it's related to the Indian Pale Ale, which we all know, but it's not as bitter usually. It's usually more fruity. It's related to the New England IPA. New England IPA was basically developed from this kind of style, whereas the New England IPA is even more fruitier and often very, very hazy. Some people call them fruit juices, unironically. This one should still have a nice bitterness to it and have a very good malty flavor. And of course, I spilled some of the beer. I'll clean it up in a second. Bit of haze, not as much haze as the Berliner Weisse, but a bit of haze. I can still kind of see some shapes through it. Reading through it wouldn't be possible, but definitely seeing some shapes through it. The foam is stable but has some larger bubbles, which means it will dissipate faster than the foam on the Berliner Weisse. So let's give it a smell. Ooh, definitely, so even from a distance, hops, first thing that hit you. Lemon, lime, typical citrus flavors. Bring it in a bit closer. Would say a touch of raspberry, some kind of red sour berry also in the smell. So definitely fruity aromas as we should have with an East Coast Pale Ale. And a tiny hint of the malt already. Not too much, very hard to decide which malt it might be. Well, let's bring it in for a taste. As it should be. You first get this really swell hop aromas and flavors in your mouth. Definitely a fruitiness, mostly focused on citrus fruit. But yeah, red berries, I think they might be using some Mount Hood hops, going by the flavor. But afterwards, you really get those malty aromas. And in this case, the malt I would say slightly biscuity, also quite yeasty. So once again, the banana is showing up, and a little bit of that wet soil flavor, which I definitely like. I like my beers quite yeasty, and it's also not too dominant. So you get a very balanced beer, which has very nice fruity touches of all the hops, then a solid malty character, and topping it off with a very well selected yeast. I was a bit skeptical. I've always heard Mikkeller was good, but hadn't tried Mikkeller before, and this one I actually quite like. Though to be honest, I'm a fan of sour beer, so if I had to pick between these two, this one would be my favorite. I think this is actually my favorite of the entire box so far. So I will rate it at 8.5 out of 10. This one will be at 8.3 out of 10. Yes, definitely my favorite. So thank you for checking in with me again. Be sure to check out our next episode, like, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook. Cheerios!